Today we'll be talking about adding and subtracting polynomials. You guys have been doing a lot of this already, but it's going to be in a little bit of a different format, so it might look a little new to you. So go ahead and title your notes Adding and Subtracting Polynomials. And remember, polynomials just means more than one term. When you add and subtract polynomials, you need to remember to combine your like terms. And what a like term is, let me remind you, is it has to have the same variable, and that variable needs to have the same exponent. So for example, 3x to the third is a like term with negative 4x to the third. Same variable, same exponent. But 2y to the second and 2y to the fourth are not like terms because it does not have the same exponent. So let's look at our first example. So with addition's pretty easy because you're just combining your like terms. So you're adding all of these to all of these. So let's start in the beginning. And I accidentally did that. It wasn't on purpose. So you're going to look for your like terms. So you look at this one. You're going to add it to whatever's down here that is a like term. So I have 3y to the third, and a like term with that is 6y to the third. So that gives me 9y to the third. And if I want, when I'm done, I can X them out to know that I'm done with those. Now I go to my next one, 2y to the second. I look down in my other group of polynomials, and I see where a y to the second is. And I have negative 10y to the second. So 2 minus 10 is negative 8y squared. So I use those. Now I go negative 8y, and I'm going to add that to a negative 2y. So I have 8 negatives and 2 negatives, so that gives me 10 negatives. Really important to remember your sign rules while doing this. Now I have 2, let me X those out, 2 plus a negative 2. Well, that's 0. You could put plus 0 on the end, but you don't have to. It just cancels itself out. So your answer to that addition of polynomials, the sum is 9y to the third minus 8y to the second minus 10y. Let's look at another example. So in this example, I have 3x to the second y minus 10xy plus 10x minus 3. And I'm adding that whole thing to negative 4x to the second y plus 10x minus 20. So let's start. So I have this term, and I want to look for my like term with that term. So an x squared and a y. I have an x squared and a y here. So I'm going to do 3 minus 4, and that's negative 1. So I'm just going to put a negative x squared y. I could put a 1 if I wanted to. Okay, let's look at our next one. Negative 10xy. I look down here. I don't have any xy's. So I'm just going to place that right next to it because it didn't have anything to match with. Now I have a 10x and a 10x, so that gives me 20x. And then I have a negative 3 plus a negative 20, so negative 23. So the sum of this addition problem will be negative x squared y minus 10xy plus 20x minus 23. Let's look at a subtraction example. So this one's a little bit more difficult, but not too difficult. I like to rewrite the problem, and you're going to see why. So you have this, and you're subtracting this whole thing from it. So I'm going to rewrite this first bit here. So I'm going to go 3x to the fourth minus 10x to the third plus 2x squared minus 3x. Now I'm going to look. When you're subtracting this whole thing. So that means you need to subtract each term. And remember that subtraction means the opposite. So a negative and a negative become a positive. So I have a positive 4x. And once I do this, the parentheses just drop. And now I'm going to go to my next one. I have a negative 3x to the third. It becomes a, a positive 3x to the third. And then I'm going to go to my next one. A negative 2x becomes a positive 2x. Now I just look for my like terms. So I have 3x to the fourth and 4x to the fourth, and that will give me 7x to the fourth. Now I have a negative 10x to the third and a positive 3x to the third, and that will give me negative 7x to the third. Now I have a positive 2x squared, but I go over here and I don't have any 2x squareds. So I'm just going to write plus 2x squared because there's nothing to combine with. I have a negative 3x and a positive 2x. That leaves me with a negative 1x or negative x. So that's the answer. The only thing you need to remember is distribute your negative to everything. Change all your signs on the inside. Okay? All right. We'll work on this. See ya.